Say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. God is great. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. God is great. Allahu Akbar. God is great. Allahu Akbar. God is great.
Bismillah wa salatu wa salam Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, this is your host, Gabe Al-Romani. Alhamdulillah, we are living in a society that has provided for us a lot of easy access to information. We can access information for our education, we can access information for news, communicating with our parents, with our family, with our friends, and so on. However, this easiness comes with some negative effects and a lot of responsibility. And in our previous episodes, we were talking about social media and the positives and negatives, the pros and the cons of that. And we left off talking about the negative effects that social media can have on a person, psychological effects and so on, and how that can affect, as Dr. Ahmed was saying, the relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is ultimately our goal, to make sure we strengthen the relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We also gave some positive examples, mashallah, that some people, mashallah, they send like a daily Quran, page and so on that people can read. We have good WhatsApp groups or different groups where we can benefit from it. Inshallah, I want to start with a question, interesting question that has come around. And I've seen it now throughout. It's not that popular, but some of the scholars are starting to talk about it. And they say that we should develop a fiqh of social media. What is your input on that? Inshallah, if you want to start. Sheikh Hassan, what do you think?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Wa salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillahi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa tada bihuda. Indeed, Islam is not a passive religion. So everything that is introduced in our modern times and the times to come, there has to be a solution in Islam going back to the fundamentals, to the Quran and the Sunnah, by the understanding of the righteous predecessors of the 3 centuries. So social media is like any medium, is like any new thing. There has to be an etiquette, there has to be certain rulings governing how we behave and react to whatever is said on it. And if you recall, when we spoke about rumors, people tend to feel laxed when it comes to saying things. Now on the new social media, it's even worse. It is the trend. It is the norm to slander people, to curse their fathers and mothers, unfortunately. And I've witnessed this firsthand. When people differ with me on Twitter, for example, and I don't usually post on Twitter except Islamic stuff or answer questions. Yeah, alhamdulillah, in my social media, like many of the shuyukh, they don't post things about themselves like so many people do. I'm going to the toilet to do 101.
Updates there.
And 5 minutes later, wow, it was great. But I don't advise you to go where I went for the next half an hour. So they have everything stated, and it's provocative. It's disgusting.
Nasty, yes, sometimes.
What I do is, like everybody else, post something that benefits the Muslim, a hadith, a reminder, an answer of a fatwa. Every now and then, you get these, what I call them, the keyboard knights. They are so enthusiastic about jihad and so on, but only through their keyboards, and accuse everybody else of kufr, or of irja, or of this and that. And they say nasty things. And I keep on asking them, Akhi, would you allow someone to talk like this to your father, to your parents, to your elders? Is this the way you would like people to talk to you when you're my age, and they are heedless because they're anonymous.
And that's a very good point.
That's why I call them keyboard knights, because they're knights from behind the keyboard. Nobody knows them.
Who they are, yeah.
And they're not man enough to come and face you and tell you, Akhi, this is wrong, I'd like to talk. No, they don't have logic.
They could be women as well.
Yes,
Well,
no doubt. Yeah.
Probably, yes.
Yes,
If there are many of them who are women, but usually women are much softer and nicer in attitude. These people have an inferiority complex, so they tend to take it on these
And
social
they become
media.
very vulgar, and they swear, and which is again, you know,
Again,
Sometimes non-Muslims. Let us
sometimes
face it.
there is
Yeah.
non-Muslims.
Some
Yeah, but
Muslim with
the-
a Muslim name.
But what shocks is that they are Muslims a lot of times.
yes, we don't want to pretend that Muslims are
Right.
angels. No, there are
no. Of
lots
course,
and
of
lots
course,
of
of course.
those who are deviated from the Quran and the Sunnah, and they have no knowledge. And this is the biggest problem. When you give a stick to a crazy person, he does catastrophic things. If you give a stick, what will he do with it? He will hit everyone with it. These people, because they are given a weapon, a tool, and they don't know how to use it, first of all, they don't have the knowledge or the moral conduct. And thirdly, because it's a place where they can vent their evil desires and ideas, they do what we see.
And that leads us to how important this social media are for dawah. However, what is the rule regarding the use, or are there certain limits to using this? Because I think so much indulgence, even for da'is, to spend on Twitter, on WhatsApp or Instagram or that, or this and that. Yes, they can see you present and everything, and they even get tempted after some time to have all these selfies and nice pictures and the coverage of their trips and journeys and so on and so forth, or their lectures and so on, and they become like self-advertising. This is going to affect your ikhlas. So I think so much of doing anything is just like almost not doing anything, as if this work will go in vain. That's why I think, and I could be sounding ideal if I would say, can you limit your daily tweets, for example, on Twitter into 1 or 2? Is that possible? Yes, it is possible. Can you do the same thing with WhatsApp? Can you do the same thing with posting something on the Facebook or showing a piece on Instagram and so on and so forth? Or you need to work even harder if you have a YouTube channel or Telegram. Any of these media, you have to use wisely, and you have to be selective and careful what to produce. Sometimes in a hasty way, when you post something, because you're in a hurry to do something, and then you might say it in a way that could be misinterpreted.
You regret it.
And then oh, I made this mistake. But already damage has been done. It's so bad to come back and try to rectify the situation after it's been exposed and the whole world has received it. Particularly those who are very influential, very present in the lives of people, those who are role models for, for Muslims. I think the enemies of Islam are watching and recording and taking opportunities of any mistake, any shortcoming, any misinterpretation that could be possible on their side of what you say. So you have to be very, very careful as a da'i, or even just as a normal Muslim. Let me point out just some of the cautions Muslims have to be aware of regarding transmitting hadiths in particular, because we tend, if we see something good or followed by Rawahu al-Bukhari, Rawahu Muslim, Rawahu Abu Dawood, At-Tirmidhi's great figures, which we are very much, alhamdulillah, respectful of, and we depend on them, alhamdulillah, for hadith because they're great in that respect. Yet, sometimes these reported hadiths probably were made up, or they're not true, or there's something behind. So if someone is fishing for something, and then we become victims of that, and just immediately we transmit this before verifying or making sure that what we do is correct. That's why we have to be very, very careful, because we will be asked on the Day of Judgment about anything that we do in that respect.
To follow up, I think that the issue of intention is very important, and what may define your sincerity or breaks it is what a lot of us target when they say we want followers. So sometimes you sit with da'is and say, how many followers do you have on your Facebook?
Right.
How many friends? How many likes? How many followers on Twitter? And this sounds like a normal question, but there's something hidden that this is what I pursue. And it all depends on the heart. If you do what you do due to the fact that you want people to acknowledge you, if we are doing this on Peace TV so that we would become famous, we have a big problem. Who cares what people say about us? We care about what Allah Azza wa Jal is pleased with us or not. Likewise on Twitter, likewise on Instagram or on Facebook or on Kik or in Snapchat. Sometimes I feel astonished when I find people on all of these platforms. Where do you find time? So I think this is something that we should be careful with.
No. MashaAllah, jazakumullah khair. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back discussing the issue of social media and how it influences the Muslim Ummah. Jazakumullah khair.
Allahu Akbar. God is great.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. Before the break, we were discussing social media, and we've talked about intention and ego, popularity, and social media makes it very easy for someone to become very popular. The next question that comes in, and the issue is, we've talked about interactions before between male and female, and the issue of lowering the gaze. And something very interesting, that people will lower their gaze when it's in general, in public, but they will fail to lower their gaze when it comes to media.
Then on the webcam.
So what's, Sheikh Salim, you want to comment on, is the media, we have responsibility towards that, or should we lower, literally people are, like this on the street, but when the social media or media or anything, normal, the ladies presenting, the ladies dancing, the ladies whatever, and they're just watching.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Alhamdulillah, just we mentioned this before, that we have to actualize the ubudiyyah. Okay, so now whatever you are watching, when it is haram, it is haram. The angels are writing. That's the default. Whether it is on the screen or that is in reality, haram is haram, will remain haram. But actually, what I want to share with my brothers and sisters, that now the media and all the different tools and gadgets, etc., they consume your time. They consume your time and you don't feel it. And that's why you spend hours, and then you become addict. Okay? And this also will affect the talab al-ilm. You will not become talib ilm or seeker of knowledge through the net. Sheikh Google will not make you alim.
Sheikh Google, yes.
Okay? Believe me. And that English saying, easy come, easy go, it's very true. The knowledge, if you don't sweat for it, if you don't feel the pain of it, you will not achieve it.
True.
And the famous saying of our forefathers, the knowledge you give it all your time and you get a fraction of it. All your time is dedicated for the ilm, for the knowledge. Okay, so that is now the people that have deserted the books. Everything is on the iPad. Sheikh Abu Ishaq al-Huwaini was asked, do you use these encyclopedias? He said, no, I prefer to use the book.
Manual searching.
Manual searching, because when you are browsing through the book, you come across a lot of benefits before reaching what you are searching, and you are writing it down. Whereas if you are using the computer, it will take you straight to that. So all these things, you will miss them. So it's affecting the knowledge. Also, it is affecting, as you mentioned, you become famous. The fame. Now, da'is are celebrities. Yeah, celebrities. And that's very dangerous for you. The ujub, the arrogance will come. Don't you remember the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, "Man tawadha'a lillahi rafa'ahu."
Allah.
The more you lower yourself down to earth, Allah will elevate your status. Even if you don't want to become famous, many of the scholars, they died in villages and their names are, mashallah, because of the ikhlas. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala elevated their status. So we have to keep checking ourselves. The media is really, really very dangerous for the da'is if one is not constantly checking himself. You will find many people, they will come to you, I find it really painful. Sheikh, I am one of your fans. You know, football fans.
Yes.
Fans, they call you fans.
Can I take a picture with you?
Your fans. Subhanallah.
They ask you for autographs now.
So we need really, really to keep checking ourselves, whether when we are recording, whether when we are lecturing, wherever.
Constant
Seeking Allah. I remember maybe Imam al-Hasan rahimahullah ta'ala, in his study circle, when he wanted to begin and he saw the gathering, he felt something in his heart. So he closed the book. He said, no study circle today.
one.
To discipline himself. That is fitna for you. Sheikh ibn Uthaymeen used to tell the people, don't follow us. The students after that, they are running. What is this? It's fitna. So the fame is really fitna. May Allah save all of us.
Ameen.
I was going to add to the idea of time consumption is that if you make a little calculation of your time, how much time you use for sleeping, for eating, for ilm seeking, for ibadah, and so on and so forth. Out of this, how much time you're devoting to these media. Obviously, you need to limit this because you will have the time saved for something more valuable. We need to be very much attached to the glorious Quran. These are the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we need to soften, enrich our hearts with the recitation of the glorious Quran. How much of time do we have if we just spend all this time with these social media? How much time is left for that? And especially when the Shaykh was saying, you need to strive for it, you need to be patient with it, you need to, exert some effort in doing so. Well, obviously, how much time do I need to memorize one page of the Quran or to review one page of the Quran? It takes me at least 15 minutes, 30 minutes, even for some people 1 hour, but you get something in return. Or even if you would like to go and read the tafsir of this ayahs in one page, how much time do you need to do? I mean, it's very accessible, very easy to reach, but how much time is given to that? I mean, why do we spend so much time in the media? I think the more you spend, the more you get attracted to it. And then you just get so much obsessed with it. And people, go to bed using the media, wake up in the morning instead of saying, La ilaha illallah, alhamdulillah alladhi ahyana ba'da ma amatana.
The clock will do it.
It's just only you just go. The first thing they do is just go to the phone, see what's happening, see who sent them a message. I mean, this is a disease.
It's a disease.
And we have to work on that.
I think it's the proper word for it is an addiction.
It is.
It is.
It is an addiction rather than a disease, because you feel that if you don't do it, you are
missing something.
Yeah, there's something wrong in it. And this reminds me of what...
Sheikh, Amrad al-Qulub, ya Sheikh.
Yes, it is indeed. As addiction is part of the illnesses of the heart. Brother Jibril mentioned a point which reminded me of something, that these social media platforms facilitate sin and dilutes and dissolves sins within our daily lives until we do not recognize that we're sinning. Yani, for example, we often see the relationship between men and women being normal on Facebook. I get messages, Sheikh, I love you for the sake of Allah. She's a sister.
LOL.
Or LOL or OMG.
Smiley
or
face.
what is this? And I say, this is not Islamic, and you find personal messaging.
Fitan.
You get personal
And it affects you.
messages.
It affects you,
Fitna.
subhanAllah.
It's a fitna.
And
It affects
people
you.
ask me, Sheikh, can I follow a female on Twitter? I said, Akhi, why are you asking this question? He says that, yani, I heard her lecture. A female giving a lecture to men? And you want to follow? Yeah, she's wearing the hijab. I can only see her face. No, this is inappropriate, totally. See, we tend to think that now this is normal. So it's okay if I like a page where there are sisters, unveiled, non-hijabis, and probably communicate. Some of the times I get a comment on a post I said, and you find 6 or 7 brothers commenting on a comment of a sister. So a sister says, the post was very good, Sheikh. And 6 brothers are hitting on the sister.
Like, mashallah, sisters.
Yeah, I like your profile photo. Can you text me? Subhanallah. So now it's diluting and dissolving all sins in a liquid of halal.
Because they're looking after the sheikh.
Well, Akhi, this is, again, by the way, I opened a Facebook account for about 6 months, then I closed it for another 6 months. Because that was like 4 years ago. I was shocked by Facebook.
Wallahi sahih.
Because 2 of my relatives, I accidentally came across their pages and I found heinous things I did not know. Partying in Christmas, mixing, booze. I was shocked and I said, Khalas, I'm out of here. But then after 6 months, I said to myself, the vacuum I leave would be filled by
someone else.
Even more
Worse.
evil things.
No.
And I have no control over what my relatives do. I'm responsible for my page. So I tend to do my best in just propagating Islamic info.
Can we add one little dimension to this, which is the criticism of people, governments, organizations, scholars? This tends to be a trend in the minds, particularly of young people.
Could be
both
criminalized.
males and females.
No,
It's a problem, and we have to stop doing so. Our principles are not allowing us to go and just spread accusations and damn this person and that organization and that government and so on and so forth. We need to be responsible for ourselves to begin with.
No, that's why I think going back to this necessity for a fiqh of social media, subhanAllah, maybe something has to be written, inshallah. And just to add 2 points really as we're running out of time. It's amazing how naturally, when we talked about this fiqh of social media, we started naturally with the niyyah. And it just came to mind, you know, whenever you study certain books of hadith or fiqh, it usually starts with the...
What's the motive?
With the inna ma'al a'mal bin niyat. And this hadith usually most of the scholars will use it in there as the beginning, so which is something amazing, subhanAllah. And last point, as we're finishing, you talked about addiction. I just wanted to mention one study again in psychology they did. They said that if you feel like your phone's ringing or vibrating, they said that this indicates a possible addiction. You know, it's like your phone's in the pocket, you feel like it's vibrating, but it's not. And you have to take it out. Or you feel, is my phone ringing? This is an indication that you might be addicted. And one last thing that really annoys me is that when we pray and you finish, Assalamu alaikum, and the first thing they call al mobile. Take out the to make some dhikr. To make some dhikr. Astaghfirullah, really, and kills you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to implement what we have learned today. I've benefited a lot from this discussion. Jazakumullah khair again. And Jazakumullah khair to you. Thank you so much. We will see you on another episode. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Season comes around tonight. Season comes and hello. Season comes around tonight. Season comes and hello.